know if you can see that down there, but there's a creek. And it's considerably steep. So I'm going to take a long walk down a windy road, and it goes down to the bottom, and then I can get at the creek, at the bridge, and then walk back up it. So let's see what this looks like. By the way, doc says 1 more month, but what does the doc know? Who knew places like this even existed right in the middle of the city? So I made it down to the bottom, and look at that. Man, I know nobody's cleaned that out ever. Well, let's take a little walk up the creek and see what we see. All my stuff up there, I better take it with me, I guess. Holy crap. That's a big cobble. Wow. I don't know how to give it perspective with me up there, but just trust me, it's ginormous. That's just dead water there, but it's moving up there. Let's go see what's that way. So, see it kind of winds this way and through here. Comes back along here. Got a real tight bend here. Real tight. And then slack water. So, this is the last change in elevation before it gets slack. So this might be a place to test right here. Right on this corner. Let's walk a little further. I gotta be careful. I really don't want to fall on this new wrist. There's all kinds of undergrowth. I'm hoping maybe I can run into an accidental morel while I'm out here. Anyways, there's that hill, the beginning of it. Anyways, that sucker is steep. But if you walk down to the road, you can get in right there. So not so bad. Let's see what's over here. And we pop out the edge of the creek. Don't fall in. Look at all those gravels around that tight bend right there. This all looks like busted up bedrock to me. But let's see what else is available. So right up there is the first place I saw it. And I was looking down from that point down into the creek there. Just too steep that way. Well, here you got a little S-curve here. It comes around, there's this big tree laying sideways halfway across the creek. And there's a whole bunch of cobbles. You got an inside bend right there, cobbles. And then the line of cobbles continues up until it hits that log. So maybe I'll do a pan there. Wow. Glad I wasn't under there when that thing came down. That is a monster. First I thought it was crazy root system, but nope, that's the tree. So if there's one thing I know for sure, is that this cobble was not put here by people. That is a monster. And that was moved by the glaciers. And it got cut out of all this. All this deep 50, 75 foot ravines were cut out by that tiny little creek. Amazing. So this might have some potential. Look at that bend. That bend's tight and it drops a bunch of heavies out right at the beginning of that bend. Yeah. I'm not sure if y'all can see that, but there's these little slack pools with hardly any water. Little trickle feeding them in. little trickle out, and you got these deep pools. And there are fish 5 or 6 inches long swimming around in that pool. That's crazy. So the further up we go, the bigger the cobbles and broken bedrock and stuff get. So I'm going to follow it further up that way. I figure it's best to spend a lot of time walking than not walk it and miss a good spot and never dig it. So spend 2/3 of my time prospecting, 1/3 actually digging. So I'm down here by the water right now. You got a little culvert there. I don't know where that's from, probably the street or something up top. And then there's a lot of big cobbles and stuff here. Moss growing on that, that's good. Gigantic chunk of bedrock. But if you go up, looks pretty good right here. I'm gonna walk a little further, see if I see anything better, but this might be my first test spot. And that is where someone is living. Unfreaking believable. More of this. And more of that. Just can't get away from it in the city. But like they always say, gold is where you find it. Let's see if we can find any here. That doesn't look bad right there. Look at that. These things are all in the ground. There's giant cobbles sticking out everywhere. Look at that one over there. I mean, these things are huge. Big rocks, big gold. This is the biggest rock so far. Wow, they just keep getting bigger as I go further upstream. I mean, you can see where that came out right there. That thing didn't roll far, and nobody carried it, that's for sure. Damn, that's big. Oops. Anyways, let's go by this guy's beautiful house. See if we can find any gold. Oops. And wouldn't you know it, I'm a mile away from the car and it starts raining. Well, like Jeff says, you're gonna get wet. There's a little bit more. These gigantic cobbles and rain. So, made it to what's kind of the end. There's a culvert here. Can't really see the creek in this direction, but I'm going to walk up a little ways and see if the culvert ends and I can get back on the creek. Look at that bedrock. Huh. This place may have some potential after all. There's another wash coming out of the hill. I don't know if you guys can see all those chunks of bedrock and stuff laying in there. And there's stuff everywhere. Just crazy. Crazy looking. Des Moines, Iowa, right downtown. Okay. So I went, I don't know. I don't know if you guys can see me. I went maybe 20 minutes further up and I was going uphill. I never did find the end of the culvert, so I'm gonna go back.